What's going on, YouTube? Brand Rider 1989 here, coming at you once again. Today is Saturday, and this is my second upload of the day, and after my first upload of the day, I needed a little bit of a stress reliever, so I wanted to do another game night with Brand Rider section. So, the game I'm going to tell you about and kind of teach you about today is called Avalon, and it's made by Indie Boards and Cards, but the copyright is held by Lone Oak Games Incorporated. So this is a different kind of game. There's another kind of game that's similar to this called the Resistance. If you've ever heard of the Resistance, you might, and played it, you might like this one as well. This is a game that's basically centered around the whole King Arthur universe. It's a really simple game. It's for 5 to 10 people. Now, the way that you play this is, and I'm just going to show you some of the game pieces here. Based on the number of people you have playing, your game board will change. See, this here is the 10-player game board, and you'll notice these numbers up here. I'll explain what those mean in a minute. This is the 9-player game board, and you'll notice the numbers, I think, are pretty much the same. Because whether you have 9 or 10, the numbers will stay the same on those. This is the 5-player game board, and you'll notice that each one of the game boards has different art on it, and I just love the artwork on these game boards. And again, they have different numbers. This is the 8-player game board. And this is the 7-player game board. And this is, I don't know if I showed it already, but this is the 6-player game board. Now, for each one of these game boards, you'll notice that depending on the number of players you have, right here, I don't know if you can see it or not, but for a 5-player game, you need 2 minions of Mordred, and I will show you what those are in just a minute. Now, the object of this game is to go on quests, and there are very few people in this game who actually know a whole lot about the rest of the people playing the game. But anyway, we'll get into that in a minute. Now, I'm only going to get out a couple of every piece just to show you what they are. Now, when you go on a mission, the first thing that you're going to do is, where is this? It must be, oh, here it is. This is the token that'll tell you who is deciding who goes on the mission. So each mission will have a number of people that can go on it. For example, let's say I was playing with 4 of my friends, right? And we were using the 5-player game. You'll notice that here, right there, it says 2. That's the first quest you can go on. That means only 2 people are allowed to go on that quest. And how you determine who goes on a quest is whoever has the crown token gives one of these, which is a quest marker, to whoever is going on that mission with them. Now, the next step in going on a mission is voting. It has to be a majority vote for the mission to go through. And that is done with these. You have a reject token and an accept token. And the majority rules on that. But we're going to set those aside for now. And I'm going to show you in a minute. I'm going to show you a different tokens. A couple more different tokens. Now, let's get into character cards. Those are not character cards. So, while I'm doing this, I'm just going to keep talking about this. This game is a really easy, simple game. And I play this all the time with a lot of my friends. And we love this game. My nieces and nephews love this game. Because it's an easy, simple game to play. And it's fun because, like I said, it's a game where very few people know anything else about any of the other players in the game. So, I'm just trying to find all my character cards in here. So, the rest, okay, so I do need this one. And then the rest of these should all be, nope, here's another character card. Okay, so in this game, you only have 2, 4, 6. You have 6 named characters in the game. You have, you have 5 characters who are just called loyal servants of Arthur. And those are what they look like. You may not be able to see all of them clearly. But this is what they look like. I'll just show them to you one by one. These are all the loyal servants of Arthur. They're not named, but they're agents of good, so those can help you out. In the event of you playing with the maximum amount of players you can play with, which is 10. So this game, when you're playing it, takes it says about half an hour, but depending on how crazy you get, it can take more than half an hour. You have three minions of Mordred. These are just 3 generic bad guys. So that's the first one. That's the second one. And that's the third one. Then you have, like I said, you have 6 named characters. And I'm going to go through the good ones and the bad ones separately. Now, it might surprise you to find out that out of those 6 named characters, you only have 2 that are good. The other 4 are all evil characters. The good characters that are named are Percival and Merlin. The bad characters are Oberon, the Assassin, Morgana, and of course Mordred. Now I will start off by saying that at least when I've played, very few times will we ever use Mordred, because it's kind of an unfair advantage, so to speak. But I mean, we have used Mordred a couple of times when I've played. Now I'm going to go through the roles of every character and what they do. Okay, so Merlin knows, with the exception of a few people, he knows who all the agents of evil are. For example, he will know who Morgana is. He will know who the assassin is. He may even get to know who Oberon is, but Oberon is not known to evil. Meaning, the agents of evil will never know who Oberon is. Oberon is a character who can play both sides of the board. He can either, sometimes he can be tricky. He wants to work towards evil, but yet he doesn't want evil to know that he's evil, so he plays both sides of the board. Then the last one is Mordred. Mordred is the only person who Merlin doesn't know. So if you're playing with Mordred, whoever's Merlin will have no idea who Mordred is. Now, Percival. Let's go with Percival here. Percival knows who Merlin is. And Percival sometimes wants to try to throw evil off and make them think that he might be Merlin. And the reason he wants to do that is, I'll tell you why in a minute. But let's go back to Morgana. Morgana will actually also appear as Merlin. So she wants to make the good team think that she's Merlin. Because at one point, Percival will be told to look up, and two players will reveal themselves. Not their cards, but they will reveal themselves by a method that I'm going to teach you in just a minute. So, when you first start out this game, you always start out with all of the players. Once you deal out the cards and people have looked at them, you deal out the cards like I said. Then each player will put their head down and put their hand in the middle of the table. Then the person who's doing this step will go through, and he'll start out by saying something like, Morgana and Assassin, look up and see your teammate. So whoever has Morgana and the Assassin card will look at each other, and they'll know who each other is. Then you'll say Morgana and Assassin look down. If you're playing with Oberon, the next step will be this part. You'll say Morgana, Assassin, and Oberon, put your thumbs up. So you're not going to look up, but you're going to put your thumb up. And you're going to keep them up. And then the announcer will say, Merlin, open your eyes. So Merlin will open his eyes, and he'll be able to identify who the three evil people are. Then you'll say, Merlin, close your eyes. Morgana, Assassin, and Oberon, put your thumbs down. So then those three will put their thumbs down. Now, then you'll say, Morgana and Merlin, put your thumbs up. Percival will then open his eyes. So he knows one of those two people is Merlin, but he doesn't know which one. So that's basically it. And then once that's all done, you start the game. Now, in a game board, you'll find 5 of these markers will be placed on the board. Sometimes 5, sometimes less than 5, depending on how the game goes. But these markers, they have a blue side and a red side. So let's talk about what those are for. Now, just for an example, you're playing with 5 people and you're on the first quest. So 2 people go on this mission. Now you voted on this mission and it's a go. The next step are these cards. 2 sets of these cards will be dealt. Now, if you are an evil person, a person who's a minion of evil, traditionally, you always want to throw in a fail card. But if you are, say, Oberon or Morgana, sometimes you may want to be tricky and throw in a success card. So, if on a 2-person mission, there's at least one fail, that mission fails. In which case, over that mission will go a red token. If it passes, it'll go with a blue token. So, that's that part. And then let's say you have a mixture of, say, evil has won 2 and good has won 3. That's where the assassin comes into play. Because even though the good side has won, they could still lose the game. Because the assassin has the ability to find out who Merlin is. If the assassin correctly identifies Merlin in the game, then the forces of evil have won. Now I'm going to talk to you about another part of this game. And I think this may be the last topic I have to cover. But this is the Lady of the Lake. Now, if this card is being if this is being used, the purpose of the Lady of the Lake is to identify one character's loyalty. Now, you do that by loyalty cards. You have one that is blue and one that is red. Now, if you're going to use the Lady of the Lake, you tell whoever you're using it, you identify who you're going to use it on. Like, say, I was playing with my friend Jim, right? And Jim and I were playing, and we had at least a 10-player game going. So let's say I don't know what Jim's loyalty is, and I have the Lady of the Lake token. If I want to use that token on Jim, I can. Now, here's where it gets tricky, because Jim can't lie to me about what his loyalty is. So the way you do that is whoever's being ladied is what we call it when we play this game. Whoever's being ladied shuffles these 2 cards and then looks at them, and then if Jim is good, he'll pass me this card. If Jim is bad, he'll pass me this card. Now, Jim can't lie to me, but I can lie to everybody else. Let's say Jim and I are both evil and we didn't know it. I can lie to everybody else and say he's good. But he can't lie to me about it. So that can be used to both parties' advantages in that situation. But like I said, this game is a really fun type of game. And I didn't need to do a playthrough for this game, unlike the other ones that I'm going to do, because it would be almost impossible for me to do a playthrough. What I might do, though, is the next time I play it, I may film the next time I play some of these games. But this is a fun little game, and you can have so much fun with it. And there are certain expansions, but I'm not going to go into that right now. Other things you can do. I'm not going to go into that because it would take too long to discuss. But anyway, again, this is Avalon. And it's sold by Indie Boards and Cards, but the copyright is by Lone Oak Games Incorporated. And that's in Oakland, California. So, again, this is Avalon, and this has been Game Night with Brand Rider. I hope you found this interesting, and it may inspire you to go ahead and pick it up and play it. But let me know if you'd like to see a couple more. I have at least 2 more of these game night sessions I want to do. And I hope that you find these interesting and that you like them. Again, this is Brand Rider 1989. And I'm going to be signing off for now.